Hi everyone, Pedro here again, and in this video we're going to look at some tips to help you with flowchart completion questions in the IELTS Listening. Flowchart completion questions usually come up in sections 2 or 3 of the listening exam. They usually show a process from the start to the end, and there'll be some gaps for you to complete with your answers. Anything that can be broken down into stages can be used as a topic for these questions. So for example, you might get how a musical instrument is played, or how to give a presentation. As in previous videos, before we go on to looking at the flowchart completion questions, let's look at some basic rules for the listening section. So, when you listen, the words you hear are the ones you need to write, and you will hear the same information in the same order. You won't hear the same words that you read in the questions, and make sure you write the words exactly as they are said. So if it's plural, write the plural. If it's an adjective, don't change it into a noun. Don't change anything. And remember, words must be spelled correctly. So let's take a look at the flowchart completion question. The first thing we should do is look at the instructions. This will tell you how many words and numbers you will need to provide. If you write more words than is necessary, your answer will be marked wrong. Also, keep in mind that if you need to write a number, then you should write it in figures. So now look at the flowchart and look for any titles or labels. This will help you to understand the context of the flowchart, and it will give you clues as to what the speaker or speakers will talk about. This can then help you make predictions for the answers. In this example, the speakers will be talking about the 3 stages of a project to design a water treatment system. However, looking at the rest of the information, we should be able to understand that the answers will be more about the tutorial rather than the water treatment system itself. Try to predict the answers. Look at the gaps and try to think about what type of information is missing from the gaps. For example, is it a name or a number? Or can you predict the type of word it is, such as, is it a noun, a verb, or an adjective? In this example, answers 21, 22, and 24 look like they'll be nouns. Answer 23 could also be a noun, but a verb could also work here. Also, when looking at the gaps, make sure you are aware of where the questions are on the page, as they may not follow a linear or a clockwise pattern. As this is a process, the speaker may use sequences. Instead of saying step 1, as we can see in the question, the speaker may say first or to begin with. Look at the other stages in the process and think about what other sequences could be used. Thinking about sequences is useful, as they can help you to follow the audio and help you to focus on when an answer is coming up. With this in mind, think about synonyms and paraphrasing. I mentioned before how the words you read in the questions may not be the words you hear. Is there anything that stands out here? In this question we can see go over, think about, and develop. But instead we might hear discuss, consider, and come up with. As in other listening questions, you need to be careful with distractors, as they can change the original information that you hear. You might think you hear the answer, but a word like but or however could change the information you think is correct. And remember, if you're still not sure about the answer, just guess. Never leave a blank space. If you guess, you never know, you might get the answer correct. But if you leave it blank, you will definitely get no marks. And that's it for this video. I hope these tips have been useful. Good luck, and see you in the next one.